Two. Cool. All right.
You just
That's it. That's fine. Carry on. Welcome back to Labrador Energy Podcast here. We're here with Anna Beros, straight out of Berlin. How's it going, Anna?
very good, very good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I spent most of the day this morning. I did some editing and I put up a video on YouTube because I'm trying to keep like a cadence of like 1-2 videos a week.
I love the word cadence.
Cadence, yeah. You know, I've actually met a couple of people called cadence, like mostly female.
Yeah, I think it's a female. Interesting cadence. Maybe it's time for some male cadences out in the world.
Maybe, perhaps, yeah. And a lot of them tend to be, I guess, white ladies. No, I think one of them was African lady, but the rest of them were like white ladies. Maybe it's like an old British name.
Cadence. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like Celador.
Salador. Is that like what? Salador is a salad of smell.
Then a cellar, like a keller, like a downstairs room.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, Salador. Isn't dur in French like of smell? And then salade.
Yep, yeah. Or pain, right? Douleur.
Dolor, yeah, that's Spanish.
And also French and Italian.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to say it in French. Maybe it's something similar. I imagine.
I think it's douleur. I don't know.
This is a strong start to the podcast. So I just done that, and I'm just kind of trying to, because today is the end of the month, right? It's May 31st, so I'm trying to think. Okay, maybe I should start off June in a more productive mindset. That's kind of been my.
What do you mean? You've been so productive.
I mean, comparatively, but now it's like the shows and stuff. Comparatively to like just the general pandemic mindset, right?
Yeah, the pandemic mindset is totally changing right now.
Yeah, I feel like I've just been what's the word? Well, I'm not doing as much as I should have, which is probably true. But it's no point in being too hard on myself.
Yes, I think so. I think there's a real cap to how much you can effectively think and produce in a pandemic.
How are you feeling? You were sick in the past couple of days, right?
Yeah, I got gastric flu because I work at a kindergarten and I'm exposed to feces and saliva, very, very close contact. This little boy was very sick, and anyway, like within 12 hours, I was basically crying in my sleep with stomach cramps.
That's intense.
It was
much better. Yeah, feeling much better now.
100%. I had my first coffee today, and I had some protein today too. I had an egg and some tofu. How exciting!
Look at you, yeah, fucking getting back at it, right? And just like if somebody's watching this and they don't know you, do you want to kind of give a quick intro on like your background and such?
Yeah, sure. So a quick intro. I am a stand-up comedian performing in Berlin. I work at a kindergarten in Berlin. I'm originally from New Zealand, but grew up in Australia. I'm not going to say my usual jokes because that's just weird. And what else? I'm alone here, and I produce quite a few shows. Although with Corona, who knows what comes back? But shows under the names of Adults Only Comedy, Glory Hole Comedy, and Punch Up Comedy.
Perfect. Have you spoken with the bars yet to see if you can kind of restart some of the shows?
Yeah, I just randomly looked at the Berlin state updates on Saturday,
right?
And I immediately contacted everybody. So I might be starting back some shows next week. So today's Sunday. Mm-hmm. So today is this week. So I might be starting some shows as of next week. Mm-hmm. So let's see what happens there. Maybe Adults Only will be restarting, but the days might be different. I think all the days are going to just be different until some level of, I don't know, normalcy can return.
You might want to reach out to Andrew at Space Bar Medusa, because we're doing the Thursday one again. And then I think Dave is also doing...
I already have. Mine's a monthly show, so it's less stressful.
Right, okay, yes. And Dave is doing the real show on Tuesday. And I went by Foster's place yesterday, the wall, to kind of see what the situation was there. Because he needed help with like just moving some tables. They got a free couch for the comedian's green room. So that's interesting.
Yes. Well, it's Berlin. Like they should have got a free couch for the.
Yeah, I think Gino's workmate or something was giving it away, so they ended up kind of moving it. So that's Apparently, it's all
Perfect.
kind of soundproof, so it shouldn't be any issues there. But I guess yeah, we'll see how the shows kind of kick off again. Uh, but yeah, excited to be doing stuff.
All the
So
stuff.
far, hmm?
Yeah.
I was gonna say so far I've done 3 shows.
You've done, yeah, fuck you. I got sick and I've done none. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for
It
you.
was
How were the second two?
so the first one was I was with everybody was a bit rusty. Second two were the second one I hosted at Fabian's Cafe, so I was doing a lot of hosting, and I was like, oh, I
Mhm.
fucking killed it. And I watched the video, and I was like, huh, maybe I did. Yeah, maybe didn't quite kill it there.
Maybe because it was like you were interacting with people and there was momentum, but it just didn't sound like killing it because
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
only 20 people in there,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It was about 15. That's how many we had. I mean, it was proper setup in terms of distance between people, so there wasn't an issue in that regard.
Of
But
course.
yeah, it was all right. People were like chuckling and laughing. I was like, yeah, well, how do you identify breast cancer? There was one medical student, so I was asking her, can you tell me what is the correct way to find? She was like, I don't know. Well, okay. And
Maybe I can show you.
yeah. I didn't go in that direction. I was trying to
Thank
stay away.
God.
Yeah, and then basically just the other ones were just doing material. Some of that I did some my homeless material did not quite work. Did not. I
Oh,
think it worked
dude.
better when I did the homeless one, right? Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, those are not translating well.
Did
Uh,
you change mental disease to mental illness?
yeah, I said mental illness. It was still not quite hitting. I guess because people are not really sure whether it's okay to laugh at. But it was funny because then yesterday I saw Gutierrez do like 5 minutes on why if he was a child he would have let Michael Jackson fuck him. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
and then
totally.
there's a person in the audience that came up to him and basically started giving him shit about that, trying to understand what are you thinking when you wrote that joke. So I was like, comedy's back.
But back to the crowd work, I think when you've got 15 people with the social distancing
Yeah.
regulations, it's going to be hard to feel like there's a level of presence and momentum happening.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the because I'm posting some of my clips from like some shows I did in Copenhagen, and the fact that the room was so packed, it really is very conducive for like crowd work, right? And anything
Yeah,
that you say, even if it's just like relatively moderately or like a semblance of funniness, they just explode. Boom.
yeah. You make one face in response to something that someone says, and it's like,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's like such good clips to upload because like you cut it up little kind of every bit goes to like TikTok, Facebook, and people are engaging with it. So I think I'm thinking now maybe I should upload something every day, even if it's clips that I've uploaded before. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Because people kind of interact with it. Some people have seen it, some people have not seen it, and it's just like being in the forefront of people's minds. Uh,
That's very productive of you. Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of finding a whole bunch of my comedy clips yesterday to finish this. So I'm putting up a monthly show called the Berlin Friars Club and
okay.
a roast, and it's a different opponent every month. And yeah, I my first roasty is Christoph Schmidt, and yeah, I'm excited to share the clip with you. I
So
think
this is
I'll
gonna be an
send it
online
to him.
show, right?
It's not a live show. It's
No,
just
an online
a
show.
regular online show.
Okay, perfect, awesome. I mean, that's
Okay.
definitely a great kind of step in that online medium. I think I was talking
Mm.
to who was I talking about? I think Ori the other day about like doing more stuff online, and Ori is a bit more blasé about just do what you like, man. Just like don't worry about the
Don't
exposure.
worry about what people. Yeah. In terms of like, yeah, I'm not gonna. That's good. But yeah, I went down this rabbit hole of looking at my clips, and oh man, I was pausing and laughing out loud at myself. Like
How
there are
cringy it
moments
is.
where it's just like, yeah, in jokes with just myself, or like laughing at how terrible what I'm saying is, or how potentially offensive that was for the audience, because there's a lot of crowd work bits.
Dude, I have like a clip.
It's just, oh yeah, whether or not I ever get around to cutting that stuff up.
Oh, did it kind of froze up for a bit? What did you say?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's just probably worth cutting up and putting online, but I think now that all the shows are starting back up, I want to get my writing back to a point where
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, stand up,
Especially
stand
because
up with an audience.
especially because you can actually test it, right? Like I think that was the biggest issue. Like you were like, oh, I think this is gonna be funny, and then you're like, okay, well, it's can't throw it out. This bullshit. But now that you can go up there, you can do it. I was
Yeah, and it's
watching
not
some of
until
my I was watching some of my stuff. Like I think because I have it on YouTube, uploaded for like 3 years ago, and I was
oh,
like, fuck. Yeah, if you ever want to see it, I can send you the link. It's definitely
I,
painful.
I'll spare you that.
Yeah, it's
I
cringe city. I was like, what the fuck? Was doing like some Thai jokes about, yeah, Thailand. If you want to get herpes. Was so bad.
Jesus. Yeah, people want to get. Well, you're talking about like tattoos and the sex trade.
Yeah. It was not ideal, but cheers to that. You always gotta. I think if anybody's watching this and is thinking of starting comedy, whatever you do, you're always gonna, don't think too much about it. Just do it, and then you hate it later.
Yeah, and it's this thing. It's that thing of like as I've been psychologically confronting getting back on stage. I think last Saturday when I saw you go up, and Ori and Brendan and Dane and Fabian and who have I forgotten? But anyway, before you guys went up on stage, I was just feeling pure. Well, it wasn't like aggressive jealousy. It was just like, oh, you guys, like, good
Right.
on you. I'm really looking forward to doing this myself. And then when you guys got up there, I was like, oh, I forgot what it's like when stuff doesn't work.
Yeah. Seeing
and,
everybody eating shit.
and then it was this whole thing of like me reconciling. No, I do comedy, and I do comedy comfortably, and I love and I love stand up, and sort of realigning or reconciling all of these feelings and wanting to do this thing that I've been missing so much, but having this new fear because it's been 2.5 months, and then the self-doubt because it's been 2.5 months. But then, talking about when you're starting out, the thing is with anything, with any creation, you've just got to throw ideas out. You just got to make it, and it's going to be imperfect. It's going to be this, and it's just the more times you do it. And so it's like with writing down ideas and with performing jokes, it's like there's all of this crap that you've got to go through before you get the gold. And it's okay. And I think that's why comedians love comedians so much, because we understand the public humiliation process of finding those golden nuggets.
Yeah, just going out there and just essentially just failing on stage, right? Failing in public, right? Constantly.
Failing in public every night, maybe multiple times. It's just
that's what it is. Yeah, that's what I do.
I love it.
That's reduced to failure. I want to ask you, like, how was, because you went to the protest today, right? How was that?
So it was the George Floyd demonstration. It was, well, with social distancing, it was still a really small crowd, but it was still really good to just be there. It was hard to hear the speakers because of the social distancing, so everyone's so far away. Right. But yeah, it was a tidy 1.5 hours. Chanting and hearing people's stories and perspectives. There were a few white women who got up on stage who I didn't hear what they had to say, but it's hard in those moments to not immediately judge.
Right.
Like I even felt I wanted to attend one of these, but I even felt sort of like, how do I do this respectfully? Like, I don't know how.
Right.
Ben McLean had a good video. Did you watch his video on how to respond as a white person to
who had a good video?
Ben McLean?
No, I haven't seen it. I saw something by Andrew Schultz. He was talking about how basically it was about like how basically stop. There's a lot of people are complaining in the US about having white guilt and then being unable to act, and it's just like do something, fucking change the shit.
Just like say that what's happening is wrong, I guess. Yeah, just do something. Yeah. And I think that's what the message.
I fell down a little bit of a hole of like watching all these clips of like the riots in the US.
Was, and it was nothing. It was
Sorry, the connection was enough. That's why I think I spoke over it. Continue.
All good.
Okay, so there's a slight lag, but I think it's fine. I was gonna say I fell down this hole of like watching the stuff on Twitter, what's happening in the US, the riots, and just watching that video initially, I was like, what the fuck is happening? It's insane.
Yeah, I didn't see the video. I've seen little bits of the video, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
I'm not. Yeah, if it doesn't just happen, then I'm not gonna seek it. But yeah, I watched Trevor Noah's talk. His sort of, I think it was via the Daily Show. Yeah, his talk and his sort of dissection of what these riots and what this looting really represents, and why why reacting to that and being outraged by that is missing a whole question, which is what is society and what is the social contract, and what does it mean for a police officer to kill, like all of these things. Yeah, it was a really good video. I recommend if anyone wants to understand it a bit better.
I think I'll check it out. The whole thing is like, just like in the context of this week, I was just look, because I was thinking of doing like a video about like what's happened this week, but then because I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to that direction with like the YouTube channel to do more new stuff, because the new stuff gets more traction. And it was like, the Amy Cooper stuff at the start of the week. Have you seen that?
That was like a white woman threatening a black man because he wanted to take her dog because she was mistreating her dog.
No. She was trying to tell her to leash her dog because she was walking with the dog in the bird area. So he was a black man doing bird watching, which I think was kind of funny in itself. But he looked very harmless. Basically, that's what I'm saying. He looked very harmless, and then she kind of like put on this show of like calling the police and like making it sound like she was getting raped, which was pretty insane. So
that's like Kill a Mockingbird shit.
Yeah, it's like insane.
I'm getting a tissue. My nose is doing crazy stuff.
I think a lot of people are basically just like, how many of these incidents have actually led to people getting arrested, right?
Yeah, and then like the police behavior.
Yeah.
Once they're arrested, the complete lack of safety or respect that
empathy
Black people have in the arms of the law. It's so fucked. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, so that was pretty intense this week. But then you had the other thing going on with the. Have you seen the SpaceX thing? I think that was one of the cool things. Like the contrast of like shit going to like basically stuff burning, and then you have the contrast of actually putting people in space again. Because like SpaceX launched, I think it's the first manned flight by a private company to the International Space Station.
Really?
Yeah. So that happened yesterday. So it's like this big moment for like mankind and America as well. And then also this kind of, this very high point and then this very low point, which I'm like, fucking insanity this country is, right?
Yeah, America is terrifying. No, I don't watch the news, right? I don't watch the news. Right. This is how I stay not angry and kind of at peace. So SpaceX is the company, and they've sent who into space?
In space. So originally what would happen basically is the US no longer had a working space program, so they would basically pay the Russians or Chinese to send stuff to the International Space Station.
Uh-huh.
And then basically Elon Musk's second company basically makes rockets, and then they have this rocket that's a reusable rocket. And now this was the first ever manned flight to the space station.
A reusable rocket.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is you have like the big rocket body that has the fuel.
There's got to be a joke in that. I'm writing down reusable rocket. That just sounds like so loaded with innuendo.
You can probably do like, it sounds like a Viagra joke in the making. I think you had like a Viagra joke that you were trying to work with, right?
Maybe.
It might be.
No.
Might be something that you could use from that.
Like reusable rocket. Wow.
Payload.
They still haven't made a reusable condom. Really, like.
Are there reusable condoms? I don't think there are there? Can you still hear me?
No.
I think it was like sheepskin or whatever. I think that's what lambskin. Yeah.
But you can reuse those, right? Like you don't want to just be throwing away lambskin. Like you want to wash that and hang it to dry somewhere.
I guess you probably don't put it in the dryer because it shrinks. So.
Maybe don't share it, but you could probably like wash it.
Imagine sharing a condom. That's like that really is it's that bad the economy. You gotta pass it around.
I wonder
Uh,
how many people have actually used like cling wrap or like a plastic bag. I think people just wouldn't, right?
no, I think they wouldn't. I think they just. I mean, if basically for a guy, that would be like the number one excuse. There's no condoms. What am I gonna do? Use cling fill?
It
And
should be
fill
like, yeah, imagine if someone was like, yes.
yeah. You're not putting that shit in me,
No,
bro.
I've got this like reusable Ziploc bag here. We can like put it down here and then just tie it around, and
You know those
you wouldn't
little
feel
bags.
any.
You know those little sock bags you put in for the washing machine.
No, sock bags.
Yeah, like the little thing you put the socks in so they get lost.
Yeah. But that's like a whole cotton bag, right?
Yeah, so maybe that's something potentially. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel
Cotton,
about it.
cotton is not liquid proof, man. Like you wouldn't put like, and that would just absorb all of the lubrication,
This is true.
right?
I didn't really think that through.
No,
Uh,
you didn't. As soon as you went to fabric, I was like, you're lost. You're lost if
I
you're
mean,
thinking of fabric.
polyester. Maybe
Oh
polyester
yes.
might work. Polyester condoms.
Now I'm just feeling rashes.
I don't know. Yeah, I think
Next
that
week
would definitely
it's
create
just
rashes.
leather. But I
Right.
suppose that's what lambskin is.
Leather is left.
A
Yeah,
leather
yeah.
condom.
Yeah, there you go. Fucking fixing stuff. I was working on a joke a while back about making Eastern European condoms, basically flavored like gherkins. So
Oh,
yeah,
we would love that.
I think that would be. I haven't really quite. And in lubrification, you use the water from. But I never that joke never took off. You know what I mean?
Pickle juice, pickles and pickle juice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because it
think
was
we used
the
some of.
joke was the pun was so you could pickle your pickle.
Yeah, you can pickle your
Fucking
pickle.
comedy genius right here. Yeah.
Can we
Uh,
get some? Can we get this wetter? Yeah, here's the pickle juice.
I don't think it's gonna work. But I wanted to ask you a bit more about like the move from Australia to like Germany. Tell me a bit more about that. Like how did that happen?
Yeah, so I this was in 2016 that I came to Berlin, and I came with the intention that Germany was going to be like Germany. I love Germany. I visited Berlin twice before, and it didn't make any sense for me to move to Berlin. I was actually planning to move to Italy,
At the time.
and yeah, and I was choosing which city in Italy, and then I came here for the second time, and I just had the best time. I was blown away, met so many cool people, went to all of these, all of the great clubs, and I loved the fund recycling system, and then I was hanging out in Sicily, and
You love the fun recycling system?
I loved it. I was like, oh my God, you can just leave bottles on the ground and you're feeding the economy and you're recycling and
You know, that's a
how
bit. That's a bit.
yeah, it's
Yeah, because
it's
like
true.
that's something weird to say, right? Like I
It's so white woman, it's
yeah,
like I love the recycling system. I just think of Fabian's bit.
yeah.
But it's so true. Like I was then at the end of my holiday down in Sicily, and with this lover, and I just couldn't stop talking about Berlin and even about the recycling system. I was like, it's so great. They've got all
You know,
these different.
you can use lambskin.
No, I haven't got experience with lambskin.
Yeah.
But and then I had these two really violent dreams, and then I was like, oh, I'm moving to Berlin. And then within
Violent dreams.
violent dreams, yeah, they basically showed me that if I moved to Italy, I wasn't going to be able to become to grow and find myself, and that I was actually going to end up in it was another unsupportive environment for me.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
So your subconscious was basically trying to reach out.
yeah, I was like somewhere else, and it wasn't sane. It wasn't sane. But it was just no. Yeah, coincided with me leaving my husband, my
Mhm.
ex-husband, because I'm divorced now. So like I had this marriage breakup, and I always wanted to live in Italy, And then it was like, no, it's Berlin. And so then within 5 months, I moved here, sold all of my stuff, did an A1 course in German. I had no visa, no German, and I knew only the people that I'd partied with, which when I arrived here, and my best friend who lived here was actually away for the first 3 months in Mexico. So yeah, and I moved here January 2016 in winter and started working at a bar straight away. I actually wanted to work on becoming a musician or work on music. And Berlin doesn't have anything except an electronic music scene.
Right.
So
no real music.
Yeah. So, huh?
I'm joking. I just said no real music.
No real music. Yeah. Yeah. No like live music scene. So and that was definitely my scene in Melbourne, where I met people and wanted to develop my creativity. And then within the first year that I was here, my friend, that best friend that lives here, she knows Neil Num. She's friends with Neil Num because she's Scottish. And she took me to Gemoosed. And I saw Paul and Toby Arsalan and Caroline, and I was so inspired after that show. I started writing a screenplay.
Right. Oh, really? Okay.
For a TV series.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I basically had done lots of poetry and like songwriting, and so I started writing the screenplay and had this whole thing of like, I don't know, writing funny stuff. And then nothing happened of that for another year, but within that next year, I became just organically became friends with Toby Arsalan because my boyfriend at the time lived with him. And yeah, Toby Arsalan was like, do comedy, just do a set. I started going to the shows, started getting to know everybody. Yeah. And so I saw Erica Rack.
Just take one hit.
Yeah, just take one. Yeah, exactly. Just do it. Just do it once. And and also seeing people like Erica Ratcliffe and Freddie Grail and Julieta and Caroline, I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. There needs to be I also noticed that there were just a lot more dudes on the scene. And and so I thought, and the thing that Toby said was like, if it's one of those things that if you do it and again, you're going to get better. Like there's no way you won't get better. And that was reassuring because I've got a good work ethic. So I was like, I'm going to do it. So then I was almost going to leave Berlin, but then comedy kept me here.
Okay, awesome. I didn't know that. I know like Toby, you told me the Toby story before, but I didn't know that it was like, that one thing that kept you here.
Yeah. I was, because then my whole, my life was kind of falling apart here when I got into comedy, because it was like, you got to get to that breaking point where you've got nothing left to lose. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to do stand-up. I've got no pride.
I think that is a good it's a good kind of like summarization of like, a lot of how people feel, like, fuck it, I have, because the same situation for me when I was kind of like, when I started out, I think when I first considered going to stand-up comedy shows, and I was in Japan at the time, like things were kind of like falling around me, like everything was like, I was debating leaving Japan. I was like, fuck it, might as well. And then it's really kind of removing that, because you feel, I don't know, maybe like a lot of times you feel a bit self-conscious, like you have something to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then you have nothing to lose.
I don't think I ever would have. I never even thought of it as a possibility in Melbourne. Like I went to a few comedy shows, but the comedy scene when I was there, like in my sort of like late teens and early 20s, it wasn't cool. It was all of these sort of older people in their 30s, and there were these comedy clubs, and there weren't so many like comedy shows at bars that were dynamic and with people that I could really relate to.
Right.
Whereas in Berlin, it was like, what was that?
He said all these people in their 30s.
Yeah. Exactly.
See the irony of that,
yeah? Good call. Yeah. well, they were like, they just weren't cool. Like I couldn't relate to any of these people,
Right.
or they just the few shows that I saw were either like for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival,
Right.
which were like bigger acts, and and I really liked it, but I didn't. There was only like, I don't know. I didn't see myself in that scene at all. And it was only when I was in Berlin that I saw these people talking about, these comedians talk about things that I could really relate to. And I don't know, it just,
Do
the
you remember
timing.
do you remember what did you relate to? What was the thing that you related to the most?
No, I don't think well, Caroline talked about her vagina being so dry that there were like tumbleweeds rolling through,
Right.
and I remember that joke, and that was just like, that was so great. I think I was having a real dry patch at the time, and I was like, yes, I know how you feel. And yeah, and I think I think I'd lived enough. I think that's also the thing. If you're young, you can have had some level of trauma, of course,
Right,
and
right, right.
some shit go on. But it's like, once you've lived through your 20s, that's when you know pain. Like, you
Right.
know pain after your 20s, because you've fucked up, and you've really like done some dumb shit, or you've uh lost people, or just seen some nasty stuff. So I think you kind of need to, I think if you're doing, I think I needed to live all of that stuff before I could really connect with the pain and the laughter thing of
Right.
comedy. And
Like
yeah,
use that alchemy aspect of like turning it, giving it some form of purpose.
exactly. And with the absence of this live music scene, it was like this comedy scene where I noticed, I it was the first time I really was like, this, like, I'd always loved comedy. Like, I actually wrote a thesis in Italian's like comedy cinema.
Right.
That's like, and I focused on comedy and like how comedy is structured, and I loved comedy, but I just never had deeply connected with stand up. And I think, it was this new channel of very clever writing and like efficiency. It's also something very efficient. I also got like more into copywriting
Right,
in
right.
those years. Sort of like efficient language use I really appreciate that. And turning pain into laughter. And I was in a pretty broken. I arrived to Berlin pretty broken. Like,
Right.
it's
Okay.
only in the
I
last
mean,
couple of years.
I think a lot of people kind of feel that way, and I think again that's one of the things that I like the most of it as well. The fact that you can kind of give purpose to some like form of senseless pain, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying
right.
to write jokes about South Sudan at the moment. What's up,
You're so right.
dude? I watched this documentary, Vice documentary. I don't know. It's a 10-minute documentary on YouTube by Vice, and it's about. I did like a small video about it. Probably didn't see it, but the video is about the documentary is about the child trade in South Sudan after the civil war.
You're
So
trying to write jokes about this.
exactly. It's very heavy. But anyway, it's also
Oh
kind of
God. Mm.
okay. So let me tell you how. Okay, let me just kind of I can tell you what the story is and how I'm thinking about it, and you can tell me what do you think. But the situation is basically South Sudan was in a this conversation. Okay, so South Sudan was in a 6-year war, civil war, right? So then it was children soldiers, children armies, fucked up, right? These guys are like the conies of the world. There were these guys. So anyway, there was this guy. I'm trying to think because his name basically sounds like he was named after a panda. That's part of the joke, right? So this guy's name is David Yao Yao. That's the panda name, right? Because sometimes in the zoo they have pandas that are called Ming Ming or Pao Pao. This guy's David Yao Yao.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
so David Yao Yao used to have like a child army, whatever, and then he decided to like disband it. And because of that, because the act of disbanding the child army, he was elected as governor. Good times, right? So now they interview him, and they're like, their interview is like, Mr. Yao Yao, what are you doing? What are you up to nowadays? And he's like, well, I'm trying to, I'm putting work in to try to return all these, kidnapped and abducted children, back to their owners. And the guy's like, you mean parents, right? I was like, yeah, what did I say?
To their homes?
Yeah, but he's like, I'm trying to record because I guess the vocabulary of the child trading business is difficult to get rid of, right? So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. And then they interviewed these people these children that were abducted. Both of them were called Patrick. And then they interview an abductor, another guy who's in the business now. It's like his name appears on the fucking thing, and it's like this guy.
So it's like
occupation. No, he's completely. They show his face, not a problem.
okay.
South Sudan. I don't know. So anyway, so this guy's name, his face, and under him, that's his title, child abductor. And anyway, he talks about like
Mr. Child Abductor to
talks
you.
about the business of abducting children, and then they interviewed the child that was abducted by another child abductor. It's like, Patrick, what's up? Well, how's it going, Chief? I was like, well, I was abducted for 10 years, and I was living with this family, and they sold me to this family for like 50 cows. And then basically for 10 years, I gained their trust, and they allowed me to go to the market to sell cows after 10 years. And when they did that, I ran away. So then I went to my family and I'm like, hey guys, remember me? And they're like, oh shit, we thought you were dead. I'm not, I'm back. So then he gets reunited, right? So he got sold for 50 cows. That's the detail you want to remember here. And anyway, they go back to the child abductor, and he's like, Mr. Child Abductor, what's up, man? You thinking of, what's up with this business? You staying in, you staying out, you giving it up, you giving it in, what's cooking? He was like, I'm thinking of giving it up because most of my friends have found Jesus, and it's not fun doing it alone. And basically they interview him, and he's like, any other reason? He was like, well, nowadays people don't, it's difficult to sell a child for 20 cows, And I'm like, wait a minute, Patrick got sold for 50 cows. What happened in between? There's like has there been any form of like, there's a disconnect. So then in my mind, I thought, do you think that the child abductor that sold Patrick told him that he was sold for 50 cows just to protect his feelings and make it seem like he was more? So that's where I want to take it.
Hold on, but what I'm confused about, so he was abducted by the child abductor.
Another child abductor, the same guy.
Okay, well, so the child, what's his name?
Patrick.
Paul, Christoph?
Patrick. All these kids in this scenario, they call Patrick for some reason.
Okay, Patrick. So Patrick is a kid who has a family, and one day he's abducted, and that guy who's abducted the child then sells the child to an army for
to another family, because at that point people are just buying kids. Yeah, everybody's stealing each other's kids. It's weird.
This is what I don't understand. Is this slavery?
I don't know. It's kind of like forced adoption. You know what I mean?
But like, why would you buy a child?
Because they stole some other guy stole your child. This is why it's weird, because basically people are just buying children because their children were stolen.
No.
I mean, this is what the documentary is about. I can send you the link. It's
really?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't like you put two and two together, like if you're buying children, then you're feeding the market of people taking children to sell.
That's how it works. It's fucked up. So I'm thinking like, because I think it mentally scarred me for some second. I was like, I gotta find something funny out of this. Otherwise, I'm just here with this, So anyway, the funny thing is that I'm in my mind, I thought maybe the child abductor was trying to protect the child's feelings by telling him he got sold for more than he was worth. I found that was kind of funny. You know what I mean? So you're laughing.
It's such a heavy subject.
Yeah.
So to find something to laugh at is a relief.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe like my mind is trying to find a relief from the pressure of this story. So then I was like, okay, let's lean into this and see what happens.
Yeah, so okay. I like that you're leaning into something that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I'm like, let's see if we can figure out what happened. Why did we go from like 50 to 20 cows? There's some form of like child abductor arbitrage system going on. Are there intermediaries that are like taking a cut of cows?
Or is he actually like empathetic and just lying because?
Exactly. Yeah. He's just there was some slither of humanity in this fucking fucked up situation of the. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing around with in my mind for the past couple of days.
Yeah, that's what you've been playing with the last couple of days.
Yeah.
There's always that problem of like talking about something that you don't have any connection with and navigating that. But that said, there's also the power of the mic, like your position to enlighten people as to the fucked up nature of certain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I think because I had this conversation with like Dave and Fabian the day at the cafe, and I was like, "Is this punching down? Am I punching down here, or am I raising awareness?" And Fabian was like, "No, man, it's funny. So I'm like, okay, well, I think it's
I think you're The whole topic is obviously they're war-torn,
Mhm.
economically severely disadvantaged. They're trading in cows. Nothing to say there's not a value in cows, but yeah, it's but it's
Not to
like
insult the cows.
huh?
Not to say anything bad about the cows.
No, you're punching down at the society in some
Right.
ways, but at least your joke is at the butt of the abductor
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
and
that's
that
what that's
system.
the difficulty is how am I putting that out there in a way that it's not too punching down. But then I was thinking, so the conversation kind of degenerated into the whole Borat situation, right? Well, when Borat, came out, Sacha Baron Cohen did Borat, and he basically shut down the whole country of Kazakhstan. Was that, you know what I mean? Was that art or was that punching down? Uh,
What was I didn't go in, I didn't learn much about the whole country of Kazakhstan was very upset, but there was very little like what he was portraying had no semblance to Kazakhstan,
Yeah,
right?
it was filmed in Romania. This is how I kind of got to this thing as well, because basically it was filmed in like in a Roma village, like very poor Roma village in Romania. And then I ended up watching another video on Vice because it got recommended to me about how they went to the village where Borat went, and they asked them, "Yo, what's up, guys? How do you feel about being superstars?" And they're like, "We didn't make any money out of this, and he called my dad a mechanic abortionist." You know. So then it wasn't. So they were like extremely upset and they were extremely mad, and basically wasn't that like kind of like taking advantage of these people and kind of like making money off the back of them because Borat made $260 million, right? And then these guys saw
Yeah.
nothing, even though they're portrayed as like hookers, prostitutes, and like number two prostitute in the whole of Kazakhstan, my sister. You know?
They needed to there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. So I was kind of like playing around with that idea. So I was thinking, maybe I would add that into the joke. It's like, oh, if you're offended by that, and you should also be offended by Borat or something. But then I was thinking the conversation was like, should Borat get canceled, or I don't know.
No, Borat, like there should be some kind of compensation to those
Mm.
people. Like they shouldn't have if they got nothing. But that said, we don't. I don't know. Does the Vice documentary really go into
I think
like
they said that
how
they
can they?
gave. I think he's basically when he came over to the village, he was in character throughout the whole time. So they actually thought they were filming a documentary because he basically never broke character while he was in the village.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
basically they gave him like $20 each or something. So
Okay, that's not enough. Maybe I think
I think
maybe. I think that's not enough. But that said, with those, I'm not defending, but I don't understand how those productions work. And there are so many like normal people, and that's what's so special about it is that and it's kind of like the Eric Andres
yeah,
show
yeah,
or
yeah.
other things. These sketches that involve the public, that involve fooling the public. The public ends up becoming actors in it, and yes, they make money from it, but it's also it highlights by creating these sketches and seeing how real people react. It's this very, very special, and there's risk and there's legal risk involved, and
You know,
it's creating art that's
you know what the funniest thing is? Like when you go to Rotten Pages, like when you see the actor list, there's two actors. There's like Sacha Baron Cohen, another dude, and then the third one is the real name of the mechanic abortionist dude. Uh, in the acting credits of that particular page, I think somebody must have added it as a joke or something. Because this guy doesn't speak English. He's like 75 or whatever, and he has like a weird hat. I kind of fell down this kind of hole. It's like so funny. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? But
but yeah, I still haven't seen. I still really want to see Bruno.
I think I
They took
saw
a
it a while back. It wasn't as good. Not at
no. I
all.
just want to see him chasing like uptight middle American gym teachers with dildos like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Just that and
I,
yeah,
I watched
and
some.
having a more sexual element to it. Like he's sexually progressive.
Hmm.
And I'd like to see that, yeah, because in all the other ones, his characters are not sexually progressive.
Yeah,
Like
Borat
the
is definitely we kill homosexuals.
Borat, the dictator. I know the dictator is
Yeah,
all acted,
yeah.
but the messaging. But I'd like to see. Yeah, that's what I want
But
to see. I want to see Sacha
isn't
Baron Cohen not play a fucking misogynist.
But so in that situation, Sacha Baron Cohen, like the dictator in Borat, isn't that like the dictator is kind
Although
of
he
like
might
based
still be a
off?
misogynist because he just likes the E.
Perhaps, I guess. And then
Huh?
is it like because basically with the dictator, it's like satire of like Middle Eastern like the dictatorship countries, and then Borat is like former Soviet. It's always kind of there's a bit of element of punching down in both to some degree, right? Um,
Totally.
and then in like the last one was This Is America. Is basically he's Israeli. Have you seen that one? This Is America. He plays like this Israeli military general, what a military expert, and he goes to like interview different kind of like Republican senators and members of Congress, whatever, about like putting this new program in American schools, which is like basically giving weapons to preschoolers so they can defend their schools. And all these guys are like super in favor of it, right? And they get them to record this weird kind of like ads, like video ads for the program. A good kid with a gun, is better. Can only a good kid with a gun can stop a bad man with a gun. And some of these guys are these Republicans. They're like, children. There's something unique, something very good about children because they don't have a sense of ethics yet. So they don't think twice before shooting. And it's like, what the fuck?
Oh my god,
Dude, it's so intense.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I should. I'll have a look for it.
I'll send you the link.
It's
afterwards.
terrifying.
It is.
It was
like,
actually.
It is like terrifying.
Yeah, I watched this Vice documentary on how many women are killed per day in the United States of America. It's 3 or 5. I think it's 3 women or more. Let's just say it's 3. 3 women every day are murdered by their partner or their ex-partner in the U.S.
Right.
Every day, 3 women. And so in certain states, they've now got this policy where if they make a call and they report like violence, domestic violence, after a certain point, they are entitled to get a gun without a license for 60 days or 90 days or something. Right. And there's actually statistics that show that in these, like with all of these domestic violence things, as soon as a weapon is involved, the risk of death is increased by 500%.
Oh wow!
And so
of the wife, of the woman,
I think not necessarily of the woman, but of someone in the situation. Right. But given that it's 3 women every day that are being murdered, and it's usually weapons, right?
Right.
And so they're just putting weapons into these situations.
The aggravated. Yeah. What the fuck? So this is something.
Let's just make it faster. Let's just make it faster.
Exactly. This is one way to solve the problem. What?
Yeah. And it was watching that Vice documentary that spurred me on to writing my serial killer bit, because I was just so angry at the state of like how many women are murdered every day, and domestic violence, and like I think the Ted Bundy film series had come out, within sort of 6 months of that, and that was still kind of pissing me off. Like, it was still pissing me off, that documentary. It's just like, I don't know.
Were they like glorifying Ted Bundy or something? Because I haven't seen it.
It's not glorifying him. It's not glorifying him, but I don't think so. I only watched the first 2 episodes, and it was like poison. I lost a lot of comfort in my environments as a result of it, because all of the women, like, okay, this is irrational. Like, this is just fear-based. Well, irrational. This is more emotional, I guess, in that all of his victims fit my description, or when I had longer hair. Like, like someone that looks exactly like me was his target. Right. And the way he would kill them, and basically the documentary just goes into all the details, and it's fascinating, but it is also really damaging to watch something that is showing you imagine watching a documentary where you are
the victim getting murdered, right?
picked on and time again murdered, like raped and murdered,
Right.
and yeah, and that this guy like was free for so long and blah blah blah, and just these documentaries make it so like they eat away at your ability to feel like you can look after yourself, or that you're like they create this kind of
Paranoia.
fear, paranoia, fear mentality, victim.
Yeah, kind of, I think damages your sense of self-worth. I've been trying to work on some degree, I think, because I've been trying to work on something with regards to that as well. With the asparagus stuff that I was working on, I was thinking about like, does that damage? Like, there's not a lot of you see a lot of people like stepping out and against racism in like the U.S. and other places. But I think Eastern Europe traditionally, no one is like the system has been more like shut up and take it, right? So I think even with
the system has been
more of like shut up and take it, because I've been talking to some of my Romanian friends about like what's been happening with this whole asparagus thing, and they're like, it's been happening, it happens, nothing new. There's no like, I don't know, and I feel like maybe because I've been out of the country for a while, I'm like, okay, this is not normal. There should be a bit more outrage about this. But they're like, well, today it's asparagus, tomorrow it's gonna be strawberries. What do you do?
Yeah, totally, and it just becomes normal.
Yeah. So then like it kind of and then I guess the people that come afterwards have this idea that like, this is what I'm worth. This is what my worth is, like asparagus, like it's okay for my kind or my people to, get corona and die of asparagus fields because we are from this particular place in the world, so we suck. So then I'm like, okay, this is not
my life is cheaper, and this, and then all time, and it's just like the George Floyd and all of the horrible shit that's been happening that connects to Black Lives Matter. It's like it's all of these instances where life is considered cheap by some group or some in some places or everywhere, and I think worldwide, women and Black people and then it becomes all relative, anywhere that's from
minorities,
economically
minorities,
or any minorities, or anyone from an economically less advantageous economy, advantaged economy.
I think that was the shocking thing, because a lot of stuff on Twitter was basically putting pictures of how like the school shooters, the white school shooters, were treated when they were captured, versus this guy that had like a forgery charge or whatever the fuck it was, like nothing. Like they were like giving him water, and like, hey man, how's it going? You good? You want some cheesecake? Well, not cheesecake, but you know what I mean, right? And then this guy's like, he does nothing, and he gets like his fucking head stomped down, right? Insane. So you kind of like, you kind of understand how the fucking, the outrage, you can understand it, but at the same time, again, you're like, how many times has this happened?
And only now we're seeing it because someone caught it live.
Especially like for me, like the Amy Cooper thing was like, how many people have kind of fucking done this before? Like her voice on that phone call is like literally, if the police were on the other side, they would think this person is getting raped, murdered, or killed, right? And then how many people would have kind of fallen for that kind, basically that kind of hysteria and that kind of like, weaponized. I think somebody was calling weaponizing, I guess, the police, whatever.
Yeah.
Using the
weaponizing also like the structural system of the imbalance of.
He says there's an African American. Yeah. Like she knew what the fuck she was doing, right? So so then that situation kind of like, when you look at this kind of stuff, like for me, I'm like, okay, maybe I can, the same kind of process, like maybe I can take something out of this that at least kind of like, perpetuate the story, or at least make it funny, or like retell it, right? Otherwise, like these people are dying in the fields, or like they're dying in the fucking under the heels of like whatever for nothing, right?
Yeah, well, I think the asparagus, like I did trying to find the light in it, I suppose.
But I think that's why your rapist pizza bit works that best, right? That well.
Yeah, my pizza pizza rapist joke, and also my serial killer joke.
Yeah, that one as well, right? Because I remember like also Cat had something
that one
similar.
can
Right.
I was getting it, pushing it. What was that?
I think Cat also had something similar about the people that I'm talking about, like stuff that people resonate with, right? So
Say
like
that again.
your cereal bit, your pizza bit, and I think also around the same vibe, Kat had something around like about somebody stalking her from Tinder with reverse image search. Do you know this one?
Oh no, I don't know this one.
Yeah, she has a bit about like how she unmatched the guy on Tinder and he screenshotted her photo on Tinder and then he used Google image search to find her LinkedIn profile and then message her on Facebook.
Oof.
Yeah, like what kind of
No, I
creepy.
haven't heard it.
Yeah, I was like, and everybody was like, what the fuck is happening? What is this shit, right? People are going insane.
That's ugh,
Yeah.
that's scary. Being stalked is terrifying.
Have you had any situations like that where people have kind of like, messaged you out of the blue or like any stalking situations?
Oh
Not to
look,
cause
like
any
the
more
number of
paranoia.
no. The number of like message requests I get,
Right.
or like message requests, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, that are people that I don't know. There's a lot.
Right. Just trying to slide into
Like
them.
it just yeah. And it's all just obviously men, or those like profiles that are fake women, not really men. Let's see. I always forget how to get to it because I just try not to look at it. You know what I mean?
I think it's
Um,
using the app or the messenger app, right?
Message requests. Yeah, look, you can see like there's just like
A
all of
bunch of
these,
right.
all of these people that are. Oh, that was the wrong one.
Just randos.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a message requests. Yeah. Load earlier chats, but there's like this is just from since July.
Right.
But show load earlier chats. There's just a lot of dudes that I don't know that text me, like, hey, were you the one that I saw in the gym last week? And it's like, dude, I don't go to a gym, like, or not your one. But in terms of stalking, I'm trying to think. No, I've been pretty lucky in Berlin. Since I've been in Berlin, I haven't really had too many creepy situations.
Has it happened in Australia?
Yeah. Huh?
Did it happen in Australia?
Like a little bit in high school. Yeah. There were instances of that. God, which is so long ago. But then it's just like, I've been really lucky. I haven't had too many stories of being like followed home walking, or
Right.
someone like trying to get in contact with me through like back ways.
Right.
Which is lucky. But I've heard so many stories where that has happened. And all of my dating, like online dating experiences, I'm very like, I'm not saying that other people aren't, but I'm very like, as soon as there's even a tinge of something that doesn't feel right, I will end the communication. So I think in that regard, I've been and block, and I think in that sphere, I've been pretty okay. I'm really trying to rack my brain now.
Yeah, what about like in terms of doing comedy online and having comedy on the stage and people coming to you after the show and be like, hey, you did that joke about, I don't know, chlamydia. How about this? How about I give you chlamydia or something?
Yeah, I get guys coming up to me and like trying to ask me out, or tell me that they want to spend time with me in some way,
That's
and and it's I suppose I'm very happy to talk to people after shows. I was actually talking to Shani today about it. She's like, I don't really talk to people. And I'm like, I actually like talking to people after a show. Like if people like my stuff, then I want to talk to them and I want to hear what they liked.
Yeah, give me all your praise. Bring it. You know,
It's not just that. It's also
it is that for
understanding.
me. Bring it.
Yeah, bring it. Just don't stop. Yeah,
I worked
there's
hard on
that.
this. Deliver me my. This is what I need. You know.
Yeah, really, really. But also, it's like there's a few layers to it. It's give me the praise because yeah, I've worked really hard, and this is the only time where I'll get it. And if I don't engage, like it's not that I think I'm intimidating, but if you don't start the conversation, often they won't.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you got to, and so unless it's a dude who wants to fuck
right.
you, and they're like,
Yeah, what's up?
what's up? Yeah, I actually had I was invited to do a show by an audience member that I kind of flirted with when I was on stage, like part of my bit. But he then invited me to do a show, a private show, but like it was a legit private show.
Okay. You want to do? How about you do a performance for one?
Now it was for his birthday. It was actually at a really great venue that I wouldn't like, really great venue in Mitte, Haus am See, and he was just going to pay me in drinks. And back then I drank, so I was like, I will match you. And I got Christoph Schmidt to come as well, and he actually wanted to do his very first performance in stand up.
Right.
And
Okay.
so he did that as an introduction. Like
Right. As a
this is good.
segue into his stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And
You're like,
so
oh, got real comedians, which means I also am now a comedian, for I am doing it.
boom.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's not too bad. I guess that's not too creepy. It's like kind of like,
Well, no, it wasn't creepy at all. It was more like after the show, he's like, yeah, like, I'll invite you for dinner one time. And it was like, yeah, okay, dude, like, no, like
okay,
this was the end of the deal.
right.
And I think there was some level of expectation from him, or hope,
Right.
but he was totally fine. I was just like, no. But yeah, whenever, yes, I've had guys hit on me after shows, but it's like they're easy to.
Right, but that's part of like normal being at a bar as well, right? I guess.
Exactly. I did have after my first, I found the video yesterday, the very first Glory Hole production I did. And at that venue, I used to work there.
Mhm.
And so before Glory Hole became like a show that definitely sold tickets and definitely filled up, because it was on one of their closed nights,
Right.
the deal was that after the show, I would bartend
Mhm.
and then close the bar.
Right.
Because they couldn't afford or invest in paying for a staff member. So after the very first one, there was a guy who during the show loved me, after the show loved me, blah, 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 you're so great, blah, 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 stayed having drinks. And the drunker he got, by the end, he said something to me that was like, you know what, if these people went around, I'd hit you in the face right now. And I was like, you need to pay and you need to leave.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was in a bartender, we were just talking, and I was serving people, and it just got very domestic violence-y, or just violent. And yeah, and he didn't have enough cash, so he had to leave something and go to a
That's
cash
awkward.
machine.
But that's a bit as well. That's a bit like, having this guy threaten you, you'd kick him out, and then him not having money to well, did he say sorry once he came back, or?
No, he just paid and left. And yeah.
Interesting. What was this? Just this a German dude, a foreigner? What was the?
I knew you were gonna ask what his nationality was, because I was just remembering what it was.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out the accent he said it in. We don't have to disclose it.
You're trying to racially stereotype.
No, I'm just thinking. Is this guy Italian?
No, but what's crazy was, as soon as you started those questions, I was questioning myself already, and I remembered where he was from, and which is why I will never go to Egypt alone.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. All right, interesting. Yeah, that's a very aggressive thing to say. Just out of the blue, I would punch you in the face.
Yeah, it was out of the blue. It was out of the blue. Yeah.
And obviously, nothing. It's probably just some form of frustrations of whatever the fuck is happening. Like a lot of I don't know. I don't even know what. I have no idea why the fuck would he say that.
Yeah. I have no idea why the fuck he just yeah.
Fucked. Nice.
Yeah, it was the seriousness that he said it in. So yeah, but no, I've been very lucky. I've had very big experiences, and a number of times that I've walked home in Berlin, like so not in my head, like so in whatever, like how I'd enjoyed myself, not together, and I have never had a problem getting home.
And
So
hopefully there won't be any problems going forward. Yeah. I think we can kind of wrap it up because it's been like about an hour. Is there anything else you want to go over? You good? Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes. I think I already said, like.
That's right. You can send me the links and I can put it in the description when I put it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think just basically my like this roast show, the Berlin Friars Club, is going to be on my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook page, Anna Beros. So that's it, really. And then
perfect.
Adults Only.
Don't
Glory Hole and Punch Up, hopefully.
Don't slide into her DMs with creepy DMs, okay? That is the.
No, I'm safe. I'm very well. I think that actually the biggest threat is exes usually.
Exes, okay. Is that are those the ones that cause the most problems? People just like overly attached and just can't take no for an answer.
Boom.
Okay. Do you want to open that bag of worms?
No.
Okay.
No, but they're definitely the people that I've felt the least safest from in the past.
Okay. Well, I think that's another story for another podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, or
probably
not.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop the recording now. But thanks a lot for being on the podcast, and I'll see you at one of the shows in the next couple of days. All right?
Oh, sure. Yes.
Boom.
Boom.